Page 458, number 92. Use de Moivre's theorem to find the indicated power of the complex number. And we're asked to find 2 plus 2i to the 6th power. Now if I keep this complex number in standard form, I'd have to write it out 6 separate times, use the distributive property to multiply all those separate terms together, combine like terms. I'd probably make a mistake somewhere along the way. It would definitely be messy. De Moivre's theorem tells us that if we can write this complex number in trigonometric form, taking it to the 6th power is relatively easy. So to start, I'm just going to make a rough sketch of this number graphed on the complex axis. Here's my real numbers, here's my imaginary numbers. 2 plus 2i is right about here. And to write this in trigonometric form, I have to first find r, the distance from the origin. Well, if this is 2 units, this is 2 units. 2 squared plus 2 squared, 4 plus 4. R is the square root of 8, which is equal to 2 times the square root of 2, times theta, this angle right here. Well, since these quantities are the same, theta must be 45 degrees. So this is the cosine of 45 degrees plus I times the sine of 45 degrees. Okay, so what I want to do is find this number to the 6th power. So what I've just found, I've just translated 2 plus 2i into trigonometric form. Now, de Moivre's theorem tells us that to take any complex number to a power, what we can do is take the r part to that power. So de Moivre's theorem looks like this: r to that power, so r to the n power, times the cosine of, and we can take that value n times your angle theta, plus I times the sine of n times theta. So let's do that. So first of all, 2 times the square root of 2, the r value, to the 6th power, times the cosine of, and this is going to be 6 times 45 degrees. Well, 6 times 45, let's think about that. That's going to be equal to 270 degrees, plus I times the sine of 6 times 45, or 270 degrees. Okay, let's let our calculator do some of the work for us. 2 square root of 2. Let's put that in parentheses. Find 2 times the square root of 2. And let's take that whole thing to the 6th power. So 2 times the square root of 2 to the 6th power is equal to 512, times the cosine of 270 degrees is equal to 0, plus I times the sine of 270 degrees is equal to negative 1. So we'll say negative I times 1. So now 512 times 0 is 0. 512 times negative I is negative 512 I. And there's my answer. So if I would have written this out 6 times, use the distributive property, it all would have simplified to negative 512 I.